Chapter 31. It was destined to make her regret for the rest of her life. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Sua Xiaoqing's words stirred up a great clamor in the meeting room. The Royal Academy of Fine Arts in Country Y. It was the holy land in the heart of every young designer. The entry requirements of the Royal Academy were extremely strict, such that worldwide, less than 50 people were accepted as students of the Academy. Every single student was a genius of all geniuses. No one expected that Luo Chenxi would actually have once been a student from the Royal Academy of Fine Arts in Country Y. However, she had been expelled from the academy. There were relatively quite a large number of students that dropped out on their own due to failing examinations in the Royal Academy of Fine Arts. However, it was rare for someone to be expelled due to misconduct. The people that studied arts were much more open-minded than ordinary people. Issues that were regarded as immoral to many ordinary people were regarded as a norm in the eyes of many artists. The behavior that could be identified as misconduct by the Royal Academy of Fine Arts could only be. Everyone had the same thought at once. Could participant number 12 have had a past record of plagiarism when she was in the Royal Academy of Fine Arts? Otherwise, why would she be expelled then? You don't say. I heard that someone had a *X party in the academy and was taken to the police station, but he wasn't even expelled. Then, there can only be one reason, right? I think so too. The corners of Sua Xiaoqing's lips curled up. Luo Chenxi, stop pretending. I know everything about your dark past. I thought that you've returned to the path of virtue after being expelled. I didn't expect that you'd actually manage to cheat your way into SL Holdings. It's a disgrace for me to be ex-schoolmates with a person like you. Andy realized the extent of the issue now. Xing Chen, will you please explain yourself? Is Sua Xiaoqing telling the truth? Luo Chenxi looked rather pale, but she still spoke calmly. I don't know which part of the situation your question is referring to. I was genuinely studying at the Royal Academy of Fine Arts in Country Y, and it is true that I was expelled due to some reason. However, I've never had a past record of plagiarism, and the work I submitted to the Chinese-style competition this time is all by me too. Andy did not believe the accusation that Luo Chenxi's work was plagiarized. It had been a few years since he had last seen the work of a genius like hers. Those were not some simple ideas, so how could she have possibly plagiarized it with ease? Upon hearing her answer, he nodded. Noted on that. We will be sending someone to verify the matter later. You are considered to have passed the audition for the time being. How is that all right? Sua Xiaoqing interrupted once again. Teacher Andy, how can a person possibly admit to plagiarism? It's obvious that she's lying to you. You said you've never plagiarized. Then, can you explain how you got expelled? Duviko. Every single person was staring at Luo Chenxi, waiting for her response. However, she suddenly went quiet and the color of her face turned ghastly pale. Tell me. Tell me if you can. Sua Xiaoqing was certain that her accusation was right after seeing Luo Chenxi's expression. She attempted to pressure Luo Chenxi proudly. Luo Chenxi's right hand was bunched up so tightly that her nails sank deep into the flesh of her palm. However, she was completely oblivious to it. For years ago. It was the past that she could not bear to think about anymore. She grieved deeply every time this was brought up. It had not only ruined her career and her future. In fact, it had made her pay a price which was 1,000 times worse. It was destined to make her regret it for the rest of her life. Why? You can't explain yourself, can you? If you don't want people to know, you'd better not do it. Why haven't you left SL Holdings yet? Luo Chenxi looked at Sua Xiaoqing with a cold gaze. She was suppressing her emotions with great effort. Finally, she said in a frigid tone, I told you that my expulsion is unrelated to plagiarism. It was due to some personal reasons. This is my privacy and I have no obligation to explain it to strangers. Upon listening to her remarks, Andy could not hold himself back anymore. He did not expect Luo Chenxi to still refuse to reveal the true reason behind her expulsion at this point. Could Zhuo Xiaoqing have told the truth? Miss Xing Chen, if that's the case, I'm afraid we can no longer allow you to continue your participation in the competition. Meanwhile, a deep male voice was heard coming from the door and interrupted him. What's with the racket? Andy spun around and his expression immediately turned to panic. Ch Chief Sheng. Chapter 32. Stung her eyes. You are listening at novelfull.audio. A tall, muscular, and strong silhouette was standing at the entrance to the meeting room. He had gorgeous facial features and a figure that could rival a male model. He was dressed in a long black trench coat that could arouse anyone. Every detail of his body was ultimate perfection from head to toe. However, he looked rather annoyed. Chief Sheng. Which Chief Sheng is that? Is he the administration of SL Holdings? How could you not know about Chief Sheng? He's the chief designer of SL Holdings. He's nicknamed the Godfather of Fashion and is the most influential male god of the fashion world in the country. He looks even better than in magazines. Oh my God, we are truly in luck. We actually have the chance to see him with our own eyes. I heard that Chief Sheng only comes to the headquarters a few times a year. The participants discussed animatedly and their excitement was apparent on their faces. Luo Chenxi's gaze also landed upon Xingyu. So, this was the legendary godfather of fashion. He looked much younger than she had imagined and was probably less than 30 years old. Xingyu's brows were furrowed. Andy, old Huang told me that there's a genius designer from the audition today. Where's the person? My time is very precious. Send her to me quickly. About that. Cold sweat emerged on Andy's forehead at once. He did not expect Xingyu to arrive at this very moment. The judging panel thought that they had discovered a rare genius, so they had gone over to Chief Sheng to claim merit for themselves in excitement. Unfortunately, the person actually had a dark past of plagiarism. How was he going to justify himself to Xingyu? Cough, cough, Chief Sheng, there has been a small mishap that happened during the audition. We have made a mistake. We would like to request you to take a rest in your office for a moment. I shall come over to explain to you after I'm done handling the matter here. SL Spring Collection launch is starting at 2 p.m. today. Do you know how many tasks I've pushed away just to come here today? Stop talking nonsense. You just need to tell me whose portfolio this is. Xingyu procured a portfolio from his trench coat and waved it at Andy. The huge number 12 printed on the cover immediately stung Zhuo Xiaoqing's eyes. Was Xingyu actually here because of Luo Chenxi's portfolio? He had even announced his purpose of looking for her. How was that possible? How could Xingyu possibly show interest in the wicked girl's work? Chief Sheng. Zhuo Xiaoqing could not refrain herself anymore, so she spoke. Xingyu squinted his eyes. Does this portfolio belong to you? As he was speaking, he looked at Zhuo Xiaoqing from the dress she wore to the mid-top leather boots on her feet. He instantly frowned. That can't possibly be right, can it? Noticing Xingyu's gaze and hearing his doubt made Zhuo Xiaoqing blush scarlet at once. Xingyu's dismissal of her outfit today was exactly the same as Luo Chenxi's. The portfolio isn't mine actually, but... If it's not yours, why are you speaking? Have I asked you a question? Zhuo Xiaoqing was incomparably embarrassed and infuriated by his remark. However, she had no choice but to brace herself and continue. Chief Sheng, the portfolio has been plagiarized. Participant number 12 was expelled by the Royal Academy of Fine Arts in Country Y for misconduct. Don't be fooled by her. Upon listening to her words, Xingyu finally looked at Zhuo Xiaoqing for the very first time. What did you say? Zhuo Xiaoqing became even more excited because she was under the assumption that Xingyu believed her. She hastily repeated the story which she had told Andy earlier with exaggeration. When she was done speaking, she took a provocative glance at Luo Chenxi. Luo Chenxi had always thought that she was a noble empress. Did she really think that she was a genius? She was still going to be chased out of SL Holdings with a broom anyhow. Perhaps, she would even be barred from the entire fashion world. Chapter 33. Calling you an idiot is really considered a compliment to you. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Do you think that I'm an idiot like you? Xing Yu sneered tauntingly. Sua Xiaoqing chimed in hastily, Luo Chenxi, did you hear Chief Sheng? You plagiarized, yet you still have the courage to embarrass yourself in SL Holdings. Do you think that everybody else is an idiot? As soon as her words were spoken, every person in the meeting room was staring at her with a strange gaze. Was she incapable of telling who Chief Sheng was scolding? Sua Xiaoqing remained oblivious to the situation while her expression appeared haughty as before. She assumed that she was doing a good job and that she had managed to kill two birds with one stone. She managed to expose Luo Chenxi's true self and still gain Xing Yu's favor. Xing Yu looked as if he was looking at a nitwit. Calling you an idiot is really considered a compliment to you. How did a person with your intelligence manage to worm your way into the Chinese-style competition? Andy, how could your team have allowed this? The company hired all of you with money for play, huh? The man with the small mustache, Andy, was depressed for being dragged into the situation out of nowhere. He wished that he could kick Sua Xiaoqing out of SL Holdings at once. How could an ignorant idiot like this exist? Finally realizing that something was off, Sua Xiaoqing stammered, Chief Sheng, I was telling the truth earlier. I'm sure that there's something wrong with Luo Chenxi's design sketches. They are plagiarized. You call this plagiarized work? Xing Yu waved the portfolio in his hand and scoffed disdainfully. Why don't you plagiarize the work of a genius like this and show it to me? This time, Sua Xiaoqing finally reacted appropriately to the situation. She came to realize that Xing Yu was on Luo Chenxi's side. Her face blushed scarlet in shame. Chief Sheng, but, it's true that she was expelled from the Royal Academy of Fine Arts in Country Y. Moreover, I don't care about the reasons. I only know that SL Holdings spends a few million annually to organize the Chinese-style competition. It's been years and I've never seen someone's work that is more impressive than this. Please enlighten me. Where could she have plagiarized this from? Sua Xiaoqing was completely speechless. The rest of the participants were shocked by Xing Yu's statement as well. He had actually given Luo Chenxi's work such a high review. No one could ever doubt Xing Yu's vision. Moreover, this signified that Luo Chenxi's design sketches were truly outstanding beyond comparison. Andy's opinion of her being the best amongst this batch of participants was still extremely humble. Upon finishing his speech, Xing Yu continued to look for the person again. Where's number 12? Are you here? Luo Chenxi stood up. Chief Sheng, I'm participant number 12. He sized her up for a while before nodding gently. That's what I'm talking about. Some people may be dressed in SL, but it's simply an insult to my design. Sua Xiaoqing turned ghastly pale. There was no need for words to understand who he was referring to anymore. Luo Chenxi could not help sniggering. Xing Yu sure had a sharp tongue. It had only been a few short minutes, yet he managed to disgrace Sua Xiaoqing from head to toe. At first, Luo Chenxi thought that the godfather of fashion was an arrogant and cold person. She did not expect him to be such a sharp-tongued man. Xing Yu looked at her and suddenly declared, Miss Number 12, the best method to prove your innocence in plagiarism is to produce a new design on the spot. I shall come up with the theme for you and all the participants here can evaluate your work when you're done to determine if you should stay or leave. Do you have the courage to accept the challenge? Luo Chenxi was surprised at first but she nodded. Sure, I'm willing to accept the challenge. A hint of admiration flashed across Xing Yu's gaze for a moment. Alright, follow me then. The meeting room broke out in a clamor after they left. Sheng Yu had actually proposed to set a theme and get Luo Chenxi to complete her design on the spot. Moreover, he allowed all of them to become the judges. This was simply making things difficult for Luo Chenxi. One could tell that all the designers present were her competitors. Who would not want to eliminate the most formidable opponent in the competition? Who would want to give her a good score? Luo Chenxi had actually agreed to put herself in this situation. Had she gone mad? Chapter 34. How insensible of her. You are listening at novelfull.audio. In the Mu Group office. President, this is the financial statement for this quarter. Special Assistant Manager Zhuo Feng checked Mu Yichen's expression cautiously after he was done making the report. For some unknown reason, he constantly felt like the president seemed a little distracted today. There were even a few occasions when he looked up and caught the president staring blankly into space. No, that was impossible. Zhuo Feng shook his head ferociously in an attempt to shake away the absurd thought. The young master had always been a workaholic. How could he possibly be staring blankly into space at work? Mu Yichen furrowed his brows ever so slightly. His gaze was deep and his expression cold. It made Zhuo Feng tremble with fear even more. He was afraid that he had made a mistake in the report earlier. However, he waited for a long while and still did not receive any instruction from Mu Yichen. President. Mu Yichen suddenly snapped out of his thoughts. His expression turned dimmer. Are you done with the report? Yes. Get out then and leave the report behind. Mu Yichen could not refrain himself from pounding the table heavily once after Zhuo Feng left. What was happening? He had actually been distracted when he was listening to his subordinate's report. He felt that something was off with him since the start of that morning. That charming little face emerged in his mind continuously. He could not stop himself from thinking about her. Did the wicked kitten-like woman make it to the event on time? Did the competition go smoothly? Also, why had she not called him yet? He had already given permission for her to call him yesterday. Why had she not called him eagerly yet? He recalled the time when Luo Chenxi was recently engaged to him. She would call the Mu Group and look for him every mealtime until he blacklisted her number. Only then did she stop. Why did she not call him anymore this time? Meanwhile, his phone that was on the table suddenly started ringing. The annoyance on Mu Yichen's face vanished into nothingness. His expression turned haughty. I knew it. I knew that this woman just can't stand it anymore. She calls me at work casually for no reason. How insensible of her. I must set some rules for her. He let the phone continue to ring for some time intentionally before he picked it up. He spoke in a cold voice, I remember telling you that you aren't allowed to call me for no reason. Young man, how dare you not pick up grandmother's call? Grandmother. Why are you calling me? Mu Yichen's expression was frozen instantaneously. It was actually not that wicked woman. Do you still remember that you have a grandmother if I don't call you? I'm so old that I'm about to step into the coffin soon. No wonder you won't talk to me anymore. Grandmother, why do you have to say that? Mu Yichen was at a loss about whether to laugh or to cry. Ever since Grandmother Mu had been snatched from the jaws of death last year, she seemed to have suddenly turned into another person. In the past, she was a motivated person just like a young man. However, she was very pessimistic these days. She was constantly saying that she would not live long whenever she spoke. You still have the nerve to talk about this, huh? My body is weak and I couldn't make it to your wedding, but you haven't even brought your newly wedded wife to introduce me. Are you doing this because you blame me for forcing you to marry a woman you don't love? Grandmother Mu sounded dejected. Upon listening to her words, Mu Yichen pursed his lips. It was considered courteous to say that he blamed her. When his grandmother had stated her decree, he had been so furious that he wished that he could strangle that woman to death on the spot. Yet, now. Now that grandmother Mu was commanding him to visit her with his newly wedded wife, Mu Yichen hesitated for a moment before agreeing. He hung up and opened his contact list to dial Luo Chenxi's number at once. He did not even realize how eager he was when he did that. However, is her phone turned off again? Chapter 35. I have high hopes on you, cutie from the Royal Academy of Fine Arts. You are listening at novelfull.audio. On the other end, Shengyu took Luo Chenxi to the first floor right away. As she watched the extremely busy crew bustling about in the surrounding chaotic space, Luo Chenxi spoke in astonishment, Is this the backstage of the SL Spring Collection launch? Alright, we don't have time. Follow me. Shengyu had mentioned preparing for the new collection launch today in the meeting room upstairs earlier. However, Luo Chenxi did not expect him to take her backstage either. Backstage was the best learning place for a young amateur designer. However, she did not manage to learn anything before he brought her into a spacious studio. Are you from Countrywise Royal Academy of Fine Arts as well? Shengyu began to ask as soon as he took a seat. Luo Chenxi nodded. Chief Sheng, are you my mentor from the same program? No, you're overthinking. She was speechless. Why did you say, as well, then? I'm from the academy next door. Shengyu smiled slyly. The neighboring academy next to the Royal Academy of Fine Arts was also a well-known arts academy, St. George's University. The two academies were old favored enemies that would frequently diss each other in the open. As a result, the graduates from the two academies were irreconcilable. They would frequently bump into each other at famous fashion weeks and even engage in catfights openly during these events. When I was still studying, I enjoyed going over to the Royal Academy of Fine Arts to provoke the students. I loved it when your fellow students detested the sight of me, yet there was nothing they could do. At that time, the students of the Royal Academy of Fine Arts would run away upon seeing me and nicknamed me the Devil. Shengyu appeared nostalgic as he shared his past with her. F***ck. Why did she feel like she was having a déjà vu of being thrown to the wolves? She was beginning to regret her decision of consenting to another audition. Cough cough. Chief Sheng. It's an honor to hear about your glorious deeds during your time at university. However, I thought that you're going to set the theme for me. Your time is precious and I can't afford to hold you up. Luo Chenxi forced a laugh and deviated the topic of conversation in a rush. She felt like she would not be able to leave the studio alive if she were to allow Shengyu to continue talking. Upon hearing that, he stopped procrastinating and stood up at once. You're right. It's about time. Come. Your theme is here. Shengyu walked to the right side of the room and pulled a huge curtain screen away. Luo Chenxi looked over and widened her eyes in surprise instantly. The curtain was peeled away to reveal an haute couture gown that was elegant beyond comparison. The workmanship of the gown was based upon Shengyu's trademark minimalist style. It had a magnificent off-shoulder design that was matched with a slightly puffy hem which accentuated the curve of one's waistline perfectly. The bosom and lower hem of the gown was embroidered with complicated yet resplendent floral patterns using black silk thread. The combination of black and white provided the gown with an unusually elegant yet exquisite quality. Luo Chenxi approached the gown and discovered that it was made from a very special material. From different angles, it reflected the light uniquely and revealed different styles. This is going to be the main highlight of the launch this afternoon. Shengyu's voice suddenly jolted Luo Chenxi back to reality. This design will certainly trigger a series of uproar. But how is this related to my audition? Shengyu said in an unconcerned tone, of course, it's related. I spent 3 months just to produce and set the design sketch for this gown. I hired 10 senior embroiderers just to make the gown. They worked together for a month to produce this. However, I still feel that it is lacking something. It's not perfect enough. Luo Chenxi blinked in surprise. She asked subconsciously, what is it lacking? The corners of his lips curled up in a rather malicious manner. I don't know what it's lacking either. As a result, your mission is to find out the flaw, then improve it. She glared at him, tempted to scold him there and then. Earlier, she considered that Xing Yu's theme could not possibly be a simple task, but she did not expect it to be a fatal task either. Was he trying to toy with her? If a top designer like Xing Yu could not see where the issues lay, how could she make the improvements as a newly graduated amateur? Oh, right, a friendly reminder for you. The fashion show is starting at 2 in the afternoon. So, you have 0.3 hours. Xing Yu chuckled. Do you best. I have high hopes on you, cutie from the Royal Academy of Fine Arts. Chapter 36. They don't belong to the same world anymore. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Upon saying that, Xing Yu left with a swagger. Luo Chenxi finally learned from her own experience why he was nicknamed the Devil by the students at the Royal Academy of Fine Arts after hearing the malicious chuckle before he left. He was completely not planning to pass her audition, was he? Luo Chenxi complained for a while in her heart before she managed to calm down. She had no choice but to stand before this haute couture gown and begin pondering in all apparent seriousness. At least, Xing Yu was not wrong about one thing. The gown appeared to be already perfect at first glance, but it felt like something was missing after one studied it a few times calmly. It felt like it was still missing a single breath for a designer in pursuit of perfection. What's missing? What is actually missing? Luo Chenxi circled around the gown for a few times before her eyes lit up all of a sudden. That's it. 3 hours later, the man with the small mustache, Andy, went backstage in a rush. He found Xing Yu. Chief Xing, the gown for the main highlight has been sent over. Oh. Have you seen Xing Chen? Has she completed my mission? Yes, I've seen her. Xing Chen said that the answer lies on the gown and that you'll know after checking the gown personally. Chief Xing, what sort of theme did you set for her actually? I thought you wanted her to sketch a design. Puzzled, Andy was utterly incapable of solving their riddle. Xing Yu raised his brows and walked to the backstage in quick strides. He was stunned the very second he saw the gown. Soon afterward, the surprise in his eyes grew more and more apparent. After a long while, he spoke, I'm even more confused now. Needless to say, Andy was even more confused. Chief Xing, what are you talking about? What is confusing to you? I don't understand, why did the Royal Academy of Fine Arts expel her? A genius like her should be forgiven for everything she's committed. At present, the participants in the meeting room were already impatient from the wait. 3 hours had passed. Luo Chenxi and Xing Yu seemed to have gone missing and had not made an appearance yet. However, none of them left either. Sua Xiaoqing was baffled. Where did Luo Chenxi go? Has she already been sent away by Chief Xing because the plagiarism incident has been exposed? Meanwhile, Andy walked into the room. I'm very sorry to keep all of you waiting. The result for number 12, Miss Xing Chen's second audition has yet to be announced. Here's the thing. If you're bored, you may head over to take a look at the fashion show located on the first floor. Coincidentally, today is the launch of our SL Holdings spring collection. The people were very disappointed because they did not manage to see Luo Chenxi, but they learned from Andy that they would be watching SL's spring collection fashion show soon. All at once, everyone was excited. Wow, we are in luck. Other than the major influencers in the fashion world, only the hottest celebrities are invited to SL events every year. I've never even dreamt of being able to see it with my eyes. I didn't expect that I'd be given such an opportunity today. That's awesome. It was the right choice to come today. Sua Xiaoqing rejoiced. She had the opportunity to watch such a prestigious fashion show, but how about Luo Chenxi? She was still sketching designs in some unknown corner now. That was the difference between them. Luo Chenxi did not belong to the same world as Sui Shaoqing anymore. The participants followed Andy to enter the fashion show arena from the side door. Even though they could only stand at the back of the arena to watch the fashion show, it made them so excited that they felt they could faint. Teacher Andy, thank you so much. Please contact me if you have such an opportunity in the future. I can attend to the floor duties of a fashion show for free. Sui Shaoqing attempted to flatter and curry favor with the man with the small mustache. At this very moment. That's strange, why am I hearing Sui Shaoqing's voice? Am I hallucinating? Luo Chenxi picked her ear with a puzzled expression. She was seated in the first row of the fashion show. Chapter 37. Sui Shaoqing, you're actually praising me. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The entire fashion show only lasted about 40 minutes in total. It was extremely packed. Each outfit was only on display for less than a minute. Sui Shaoqing was deeply attracted and overwhelmed by the rapidly changing scenes. Her gaze was filled with admiration. The models involved in today's fashion show were all internationally renowned supermodels. Each of them would come at a high price that only the SL Group could afford. If there came a day when her design could be donned by these supermodels and displayed at such a high-scale fashion show, she would be at the peak of her life. The fashion show was approaching its end. The participants standing and watching the show began to feel their excitement peaking. The fashion show is coming to an end. The main highlight of today is about to come. I heard that the model walking the closing runway with the main highlight outside is the supermodel, Bai Xinxin, that ranks first in the country currently. I wonder what sort of outfit is worthy of her presence. Wow, Bai Xinxin, huh? She's my idol. Bai Xinxin ascended the T-shaped runway under the watchful eyes of the anticipating crowd. As soon as she appeared, her presence triggered waves upon waves of surprised gasps. She was tall and slim with a perfect figure. Her complexion was as fair as snow and crystal clear. She appeared especially striking under the illumination of the stage lights. In addition, her face had a mixed aesthetic value of Asian and Caucasian features. Bai Xinxin truly deserved the reputation of being the #1 supermodel. However, the crowd noticed not her beautiful appearance at first glance but the gown that she wore. It had simplistic, minimalist workmanship. The black and white colors formed the perfect contrast while its modern yet complicated floral pattern added a dash of classical charm to the gown. However, the most striking part of the gown was not all these. Instead, it was at the bosom of the gown. A blood-red butterfly was pinned unassumingly at the edge of Bai Xinxin's right collarbone. It was enchanting, cold, and alluring. It appeared as if it had just feasted on the beauty's fresh blood and was about to spread its wings and fly away. The originally puritanical gown was added with a dash of sensuality. It matched Bai Xinxin's bright red lip color that made her appear even more laid back and sexy. As she made her way across the standard runway, the stage lights on the T-shaped runway refracted onto the gown into different gradients of light. It resulted in her continuous alter ego switch of being puritanical and sensual. Because of their amazement, all the members of the audience forgot to breathe within that short period of less than a minute. The entire scene boiled over instantaneously after Bai Xinxin's silhouette vanished. The photographers from the famous magazines watching the show were sparing no effort in capturing photographs. They regretted reacting slowly to the situation deeply such that they failed to capture more images. This must be the most successful fashion show for Shengyu in the past few years. That's right. That final gown is truly breathtaking. The design of that butterfly is ingenious. This is the first time that I've already forgotten that the model is Bai Xinxin, but the only thing on my mind is the outfit she wore. I'm going to publish an article immediately when I go back later. It's going to be centered around the butterfly. After the show, Sui Shaoqing and the rest left through the side door and returned to the meeting room on the 11th floor. They were discussing the fashion show along the way. Naturally, the most discussed topic was the main highlight gown. After a while, Andy walked into the room. How was it? What are your thoughts after watching the fashion show earlier? Everyone was alerted by his question. They realized that he was testing their vision. The standards for this fashion show are very high. There's a large amount of innovation displayed using traditional foundation, especially in the final gown. That butterfly is simply the finishing touch that brought the work of art to life. The participants competed against one another to express their views on the assumption that this was part of the competition. They utilized their professional knowledge to boast about the final gown from different perspectives. Naturally, Sua Xiaoqing attempted to display her dominance as well. The final gown has proven itself to be the main highlight. Even the butterfly is only a small accessory, it is utilized perfectly. Moreover, it changes the style of the dress. It expresses today's theme appropriately. It can be said that the butterfly is the soul of today's fashion show. As she analyzed it with sound charisma, she felt that she gave the best description out of everyone else. Her effort would certainly impress Andy. However, Luo Chenxi's soft chuckle was heard coming from the doorway before Sua Xiaoqing's voice faded away. Sua Xiaoqing, you're actually praising me. I'm flattered. Chapter 38. Funnier than a clown. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Sua Xiaoqing was stunned for a moment upon hearing Luo Chenxi's voice. Soon afterward, she walked up to Luo Chenxi with long strides and said proudly, Luo Chenxi, have you noticed that you just missed something? We were invited to watch SL Holdings' Spring Collection fashion show this year while you were still busy drawing the sketches. You don't have the chance to watch such a grand fashion show in your life. I feel sorry for you. Sua Xiaoqing was under the assumption that Luo Chenxi would certainly feel very depressed if she were to find out that she missed the grand fashion show. Who would have thought that Luo Chenxi had only grinned? Oh. All of you were really at the Spring Collection fashion show. So, it turned out that the undesired voice coming from her back when she had watched the fashion show in the front row was not a hallucination. How could it be fake? Sua Xiaoqing thought that Luo Chenxi found it unbelievable, so she emphasized strongly, there were countless famous celebrities at the SL fashion show. The closing finale today was by the #1 supermodel, by Xinxin. Oh, right, you didn't get to see the main highlight gown. It was exquisite. On the foundation formed by black and white contrast, the blood-red butterfly was simply a divine touch. I have no idea how Chief Xing managed to design that. At that point, she paused for a moment. Oh, I remembered. You weren't there to see the fashion show, so you have no idea what am I saying for certain. Sigh, what an impressive design that you missed. What a waste. You can look it up online later. Commoners can only look up the photos online, but it's way different from seeing it live. Luo Chenxi almost could not refrain from laughing aloud when she looked at Sua Xiaoqing's exaggerated expression. She let out a few coughs in an attempt to suppress her impulse to snicker with great effort. I've already seen the photos online earlier. The design of the butterfly is genuinely quite unconventional. How far do you think a person could go in the Chinese-style competition if the design was used as a participation entry? Sua Xiaoqing immediately widened her eyes in surprise upon hearing a question and looked as if she was insulted. Luo Chenxi, you have no idea about anything at all. This was the design that was used as the main highlight of the SL Spring Collection fashion show. It is a design of the highest standard in the country. How dare you compare it to the products of the Chinese-style competition? Is your brain still working? Besides her, the rest of the participants could not bear to listen to Sua Xiaoqing anymore. Is this person really a designer? She can't even distinguish the difference between good and bad designs. How dare she compare a god's work to an amateur product? Precisely. If a product of that level had been used to enter the competition, it would certainly get first place. Would there be a need for more discussion? I didn't believe that her work had been plagiarized earlier. Now that I think about it, how can a person like her who doesn't even have an appreciation of beauty possibly pass the preliminary round? Luo Chenxi was not only not infuriated, but she cracked into a smile on the contrary after hearing the insults. She turned around to look at Andy and said with a saccharine smile, "Teacher Andy, that's enough, isn't it? Everybody thinks that the design of the butterfly qualifies for the semi-finals. So, am I considered to have passed the audition?" Hastily, Andy said, "Passed, you've passed, of course. Miss Xing Chen, your performance today has truly widened my horizon. You've earned my respect." Compared to before, he sounded much more courteous. No way. She was a designer that even Chief Xing regarded as a genius. Her prospect was boundless. Sua Xiaoqing and the rest were confused by their conversation as they had yet to understand the situation. What's going on? Teacher Andy, why did you say that she passed the audition? We haven't seen her design sketches or evaluated her yet. Humph. Who do you think you are? Do you think you are worthy of evaluating Xing Chen? Andy was almost driven to tears by these idiots. Didn't all of you say that the butterfly design on the main highlight gown today was worthy of first place? That was precisely Xing Chen's work. What? Impossible. How is that possible? Sua Xiaoqing shook her head repeatedly from the overwhelming situation as she refused to believe it. If it was true, her reaction earlier had been even funnier than a clown's. How is that impossible? Chief Xing witnessed her completing the design. Could Chief Xing be harboring her plagiarized work? If your standard isn't good enough, then stop simply making wild accusations at someone. Someone here has a bad case of jealousy disease that should be treated. Chapter 39. No wonder she turned off her phone. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Please hold on, Miss Xing Chen. Luo Chenxi was preparing to head home after coming out of the meeting room when she was stopped by someone as she made her way to the entrance of SL Holdings. Chief Xing. Luo Chenxi was rather surprised by the incoming person. Thank you very much for today. I didn't want to interrupt earlier because I saw that you were busy handling the press interview. Is every student from the Royal Academy of Fine Arts as hypocritical as you? Xing Yu raised his brows. Ha! She was stunned for a moment. I'm supposed to thank you for today instead. Had it not been for your design, the fashion show wouldn't have triggered so much response. Cough, cough. You're being too modest. Upon hearing his compliment to her, Luo Chenxi's first reaction was not joy but horror. When Xing Yu noticed her vigilant expression, he pursed his lips indifferently. He took something out from his pocket and stuffed it into her hand. This is for you as a keepsake. Luo Chenxi lowered her head and saw an exquisite jewelry box. She was about to reject the gift when she heard him say, "Open it and take a look first." As instructed, she opened the box, in the center of which, a blood-red butterfly brooch nestled silently. It was the handcrafted brooch she had made during the short final 3 hours given to her today. She stared at the brooch for a while before closing the jewelry box and placing it into her handbag. I'll take it then. Thanks, Chief Xing. The design completed today was considered a breakthrough for herself too. The brooch was genuinely worthy of being a keepsake. Originally, she thought that the item was supposed to be under SL Holdings' possession. She assumed that she would not be able to take it home, so she had felt rather piteous, but she did not expect Xing Yu to actually present it to her. I hope to see your performance in the semi-finals. Xing Yu took an intense glance at her before he turned around and left. Luo Chenxi walked a few steps along the path before someone suddenly grabbed her wrist and she was pulled to the side. Startled, she was about to scream aloud when she heard the male voice trying hard to suppress his rage coming from her side. Luo Chenxin. I've underestimated you, haven't I? You said that you were here at SL Holdings for a competition. It turns out that you're here to have a secret rendezvous with another man, huh? Have you forgotten about my warning to you last night? Or have you completely disregarded my words? Luo Chenxi widened her eyes and looked at the enlarged handsome face before her in bewilderment. Mu Yichen. Why did you come here? Mu Yichen's face was blushing and he appeared uneasy. He must have gone mad. He had made a few calls to Luo Chenxi earlier but did not manage to get through. Frustrated, he had pushed aside the official business that he had yet to finish working on and driven his sports car to pick her up at SL Holdings. He did not expect to see Luo Chenxi and Sheng Yu as soon as he stopped the car at the entrance. Do I need to explain my whereabouts to you? Explain your relationship with the third son of the Sheng family to me first. Could he have been one of your hookups in the past too? Rage flickered in Mu Yichen's dark eyes. He was furious as he looked at the wicked woman's fair and delicate small face before him. No wonder she had not attempted to call him at all. In fact, she had even turned off her phone. It turned out that it was because there was someone in SL Holdings that she wanted to get close to. Luo Chenxi was stunned. The third son of the Sheng family. Don't pretend that you aren't aware of that. Weren't you having a hard time parting with Sheng Yu at the door earlier? Sheng Yu is the young master of Sheng family. Luo Chenxi repeated in astonishment. The Sheng family was a famous, powerful family in City T. Even though they were not as powerful as the Mu family, they were not that far off. BVEC Luo Chenxi did not expect Sheng Yu to have such an impressive family background. Mu Yichen scoffed coldly, you're always trying to get close to the young masters of powerful families. Sheng Yu is just a designer. Why do you bother to be so on such intimate terms with him? Again and again, he accused her of being unfaithful to him. Luo Chenxi was furious. Which eye of yours saw that I was on intimate terms with him? We were just talking like normal people. Oh, is that right? Does talking like normal people include him giving you jewelry? Mu Yichen sneered. Chapter 40. I'm holding my wife. Why should I be afraid of others taking photos? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Was she treating him like a fool? How could a normal friend possibly give her a gift in the form of jewelry? Upon listening to his words, Luo Chenxi could not help feeling stunned. Had Mu Yichen actually seen that? Upon seeing Luo Chenxi's stunned expression, fury rose from his chest. Luo Chenxin, you never change. Why, have you pretended to be a pure young maiden for 2 years and can't bear to continue the pretense anymore? Mu Yichen almost believed her. Do you still remember my warning to you? The more he thought about it, the angrier he was. He wrapped his arm around her slim waist and locked her into his cradle. Then, he used his other hand to lift her chin up to compel her to look at him. Luo Chenxi wanted to dodge, yet despite her usual agility, it was completely ineffective with Mu Yichen. The man's strong, huge hand was tightly wrapped around her, filled with the oppressing sensation of pure masculinity. Hey, can't you understand what I'm saying? I told you that there's nothing between me and Sheng Yu. He didn't give me any jewelry. No, it is jewelry, but it's not what you think it is. Mu Yichen, let go of me. You're hurting me. Luo Chenxi wanted to pry his palm away, but she could not budge it after a few attempts. She raised her leg and stomped on him right away. This man had really gone too far. Aside from the fact that he accused her without explanation, he had the audacity to be rough with her. She would try her best to get rid of him by stomping on him. Mu Yichen did not expect the wicked woman that appeared harmless could be so strong. He was caught off guard such that the tip of her high heel caught his foot. His face contorted in pain. *T. Luo Chenxi seized the opportunity to shove him away and turned around to leave. However, she did not manage to walk far before Mu Yichen caught up to her. The man pinned her down by her waist and stopped her struggles skillfully with his strength. Although Luo Chenxi still had the intention to use the same technique again, Mu Yichen shifted his arm downward and pressed her voluptuous buttocks to clamp her legs. Their bodies ended up tightly pressed together. Trying to stomp on me again. Do you think that I'm incapable of stopping you? The man's voice that was trying to suppress his rage was heard close to her ear. Luo Chenxi's entire body had turned stiff. She did not even have the courage to make a movement. Their position was truly flirtatious. Mu Yichen's huge hand was placed on her thigh with just a thin layer of fabric separating his skin from hers. The heat and strength radiating from his palm almost burned her. They were still standing on a busy street. The voices of passers-by were heard indistinctly in the distance. Luo Chenxi wondered if she was overthinking because she thought that she even heard Zhuo Xiaoqing's voice. If the rest of the participants were to see her now, it would truly be immensely embarrassing for her. Mu Yichen, stop it. Let me go first so I can explain. Her tone softened at once. Mu Yichen scoffed coldly, scared now, huh? Why didn't you think of the consequences when you took Xing Yu's gift? Mu Yichen, can't you listen to my explanation first? Luo Chenxi was exasperated. Go ahead. Explain yourself. Let go of me first. Mu Yichen did not realize that there was anything wrong with their pose originally, but when he looked at her enticing blush creeping up on her small face, he suddenly felt parched. His voice was hoarse as he said, explain yourself first. I shall let go of you naturally if I'm satisfied. Luo Chenxi wished that she could bite him. Are you crazy? What if someone were to take a photo? You're going to make the headlines. Even though the young master of the Mu family had always maintained a low profile, he was wealthy and handsome. Every little news related to him would easily make the headlines, what more hot news like him hugging a woman on a busy street. Luo Chenxi thought that he would loosen his grip on her after listening to her remark. Everyone knew that young Master Mu loathed scandals all the while. The female celebrities that had the audacity to use him as a romantic scandal would end up permanently shut out by him mercilessly. Who would have thought that Mu Yichen would just take a side glance at her before retorting indifferently? I'm holding my wife. Why should I be afraid of others taking photos?